You spent 12 years inside a classroom, maybe 16, maybe more. You learned the quadratic formula. You learned the periodic table. You learned the causes of wars that ended before your grandparents were born. And then you graduated, entered the real world, and discovered that nobody had ever taught you how money actually works. Not once, not in a single class. And that omission was not an accident. Here is exactly how the framework works. Rule number 7. You do not get wealthy by earning more. You get wealthy by keeping more. Most people believe the path to wealth is a bigger salary, so they chase promotions, take on extra work, grind for raises, and then watch, confused, as their financial position barely changes. Because income is not wealth. Income is the raw material. What you do with it is the architecture. A person earning $50,000 and deploying 40% into assets is building more wealth than a person earning $200,000 and spending $190,000. The number on the paycheck is irrelevant. The gap between what comes in and what gets deployed is everything. The 1% are not obsessed with earning more. They are obsessed with the spread. Widen the spread. That is Rule 7. Rule number 6. Taxes are optional for those who understand the code. This is the rule that sounds illegal until you understand it. The tax code in virtually every developed country is not a flat punishment applied equally to everyone. It is a system filled with deliberate incentives, deductions, credits, and structures that reward specific behaviors. Investing, building businesses, owning real estate, deploying capital. The average salaried employee pays taxes on 100% of their income before they can make a single financial decision. The wealthy structure their income so that much of it flows through entities, investments, and vehicles that are taxed at lower rates, deferred, or offset entirely by legitimate deductions. They do not earn less, they structure differently. A tax professional who understands wealth strategy is not an expense. It is one of the highest return investments available. Rule number 5. Your network is your net worth, literally. This phrase has been reduced to motivational poster content so many times that most people no longer hear it as the hard financial mechanism it actually is. Access to deals, information, investment opportunities, partnerships, mentorship, and capital does not flow through Google searches. It flows through relationships. The 1% do not find their best opportunities on public markets or job boards. They find them through conversations that happen in rooms most people never enter. And the entry fee to those rooms is not money. It is value. It is becoming someone worth knowing. Deliberately, strategically, consistently building relationships with people operating at the level you intend to reach is not networking in the superficial sense. It is deal flow infrastructure. Most people build their network reactively. The 1% build it like an asset. Subscribe if you want to optimize your framework. It means a lot. Rule number 4. Inflation is a tax on savers and a gift to asset holders. Every year, inflation quietly reduces the purchasing power of every dollar sitting in a savings account. You do not receive a bill. There is no notification. The number in your account stays the same, while everything it can buy slowly costs more. If your money is sitting still, inflation is moving against it. But if your money is inside assets that appreciate, real estate, equities, commodities, productive businesses, inflation lifts those asset values alongside the general price level. The asset holder is not harmed by inflation. They are carried by it. This is why the wealth gap does not just persist during inflationary periods. It accelerates. Savers fall behind, asset holders pull ahead. The 1% do not fight inflation. They position on the right side of it. Rule number 3. The business entity is the most powerful financial tool ever created. Most people earn money as individuals. They receive a salary, pay income taxes at the highest individual rates, and then decide what to do with what remains. A business entity reverses this sequence entirely. The business earns revenue. It deducts expenses, equipment, travel, education, home office, professional services, software, and dozens of other legitimate costs. And then it pays taxes only on what remains after those deductions. The business owner accesses pre-tax dollars to build their life, their skills, and their operations. The individual earner accesses post-tax dollars for everything. This structural difference, compounded over a career, produces a categorically different financial outcome. You do not need to be a large corporation to access this. A single-person consultant practice, a side business, a creative operation, any legitimate business entity unlocks the structure. The 1% understand that the entity itself is a wealth multiplier even before it generates significant profit. Rule number 2. Financial education is the highest return investment you will ever make. Every financial mistake you avoid is money saved. Every opportunity you recognize because you understand the mechanism is money earned. Every tax structure you implement, every negotiation you win, every predatory product you identify and decline, these are direct financial returns on the knowledge you acquired. The average person spends more time researching which television to buy than they spend understanding how money compounds, how taxes work, or how leverage functions. The 1% treat financial education as a non-negotiable recurring investment. They read, they study, they hire experts and learn from them, because they understand that the return on knowledge is not measured in percentage points. It is measured in the difference between the financial life you would have lived in ignorance and the one you build with understanding. Rule number 1. Time in the game is the only variable that cannot be bought back. Every other resource compounds with time. Money compounds, knowledge compounds, relationships compound, skills compound. But time only moves in one direction and cannot be recovered, borrowed, or substituted. The person who begins deploying capital at 22 and the person who begins at 32 are not 10 years apart in wealth outcomes. They are separated by the exponential difference between 10 and 20 years of compounding. That gap is not a matter of discipline or intelligence or luck. It is mathematics. The most expensive financial mistake is not a bad investment. It is waiting. Waiting until you earn more, until you understand more, until conditions feel more certain. The 1% are not waiting. They are in the game, imperfectly, early, consistently, because they understand that the one resource that cannot be manufactured is the only one that actually determines the size of the outcome. These 7 rules were not taught in any classroom, but they are available to anyone who chooses to learn them. And the moment you do, the gap between where you are and where the 1% live is no longer about opportunity. It is about execution. The human brain has not changed. Your strategy has. You're welcome. Subscribe if you want to optimize your framework. It means a lot.